Welcome to an upload of Steel Talk and Iron Responses.
Key Life Productions are the bomb. Bringing life, bringing that 21st century culture and politics, political activism back to 125th Street. Much love.
Ashe. Right? Folks. Peace, folks. We're still here at Harlem Week. I ran into a brother I've seen in the community for decades. He's been an integral part of some of the most important occurrences right here in New York City. So he's getting ready to parlay all of that knowledge, firsthand experience, a legal background, and just being a charismatic brother right off top to flip that into a political career. But he can say it and speak to it far better than I. Give them your name, good brothers, and what some of the things you're doing.
My name is Julius Tajiddin. I'm running for City Council in the 9th Council District, and that includes all of Central Harlem, parts of West Harlem, and parts of East Harlem. The Democratic primary, which I'll be running in, is coming up September 12th, and hopefully I get elected to be that representative for the Democratic Party and be running in the general election in November.
Yes, you've been diligently getting your signatures.
Yes.
So again, with that history, what will you bring to the table as a council member that will help lead us to more fruitful pastures? Because Harlem is in a transitional time right now. So how can your stewardship get us to a more fruitful time?
Well, first of all, we have to recognize who we are. We have to recognize our power, see? And we're not doing that. So we're letting other people write the narratives and the scripts for us. That's with everything. Housing, your freedoms of what you do. They write these narratives and these scripts, and you follow suit. So we have to empower ourselves, and we have to start writing the scripts that fit us. That's it, pretty much in a nutshell.
I totally agree.
Now,
I totally agree.
one of the things I'm fighting against is the mayor's plan to privatize public housing. He's got this plan known as NYCHA's Next Generation.
That would be a disaster. Just the thought of it privatized.
Now, he's saying that it's necessary to privatize a certain amount of it because NYCHA is operating under a $60 million deficit. It also has a tremendous restoration bill of $17 billion. So he's saying there's no other way but to do it this way. Now, me and some other people, we came up with a counter proposal that we do address the deficit. We address also the quality of life issues. And we believe that by empowering those tenants in public housing, that we can solve all these problems. So we know the numbers, we know the abstract history, and the mayor has this plan. And we're really not giving him a long time to think it over. We're not going to let him get reelected and then hope that he listens to us. If we got to get him out of office, we're going to do that. We're going to get him out of office unless he does a moratorium on this next generation. And
now, is it a proposal? Is it being floated, or
yes,
is this a plan in place?
It's a written proposal with all of the everything that's necessary for a proposal.
So who has to approve it before it goes forward as policy?
Well, the mayor's got it. I know the mayor's got it firsthand. The public advocate has it. Many people in representing us, Inez Dickens has it. Bill Perkins may have it, but
okay, maybe I missed something. Who constructed it and who gave it to them?
Well, I'm the lead drafter.
Oh, so this is your.
Well, I'm spearheading it.
But the counter is a spearhead.
Yes.
So
the mayor is pushing
his plan,
which is NYCHA Next Generation.
So who gave that to him? I'm trying to say who will ultimately benefit from this? So
developers.
So could they possibly? Because just like with people put bills together these days and give them to politicians.
That's right.
I mean that's the kind of corruption
that is
goes
correct.
on. Now I tell you, this is underground meter. I'm gonna hit you with some hard questions. Now, if they're too sensitive to answer,
No.
I get that.
No.
But I can't do our listeners any better. I'm gonna go with the raw.
You know me from
Yes.
way back.
Yeah, that's why I'm coming at you like
Yeah,
this.
so go ahead.
Because I mean, I'm sure De Blasio wasn't up. Let me see how I can get NYCHA. No, somebody approached him, and it's
Yeah.
probably billions of dollars
That's
at
right.
stake here.
That is correct.
So we don't have people standing up for us.
No.
The 1%, the folk with the money, are
Right.
going to do what they've always been doing.
That's correct.
So how do we defend ourselves against this?
Well, we're going to have to unify, and we're going to have to put him out of office. So,
I mean, is it just that? There's no other place to balance? It's just done. He needs to go.
he needs to do a moratorium on this next generation, bring us to the table. See, it's non-negotiable. You can't have, you got to have certain people at that table, and you got to know what the community wants, and how do we accomplish these goals. So it's not like you know what's best for us.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about, how people, they write our scripts, they write our narratives, they tell us where we should go and how we should proceed forward. We got to end those days.
Okay.
And
okay.
we have to go sit at the table and just say certain things are non-negotiable. The separation of our people,
Right.
it's
right,
non-negotiable.
But,
We can't
but
have that.
If I may use the analogy, an opposing force, an enemy moves on you when they feel you're weak and faltering.
That
That's
is
the best
true.
time to come in and conquer.
That
and
is
I've been
true.
saying this on a few bills right here in our beloved Harlem. You know, we lost a seat that was in black hands for more than 7 decades. If you combine the Honorable Adam Clayton Powell Jr.
Yeah.
and Charles Rangel. Now, again, okay, the person who won fought a good campaign. I don't want to take anything away, but there was a shift of power.
Well,
Harlem has been the mecca for black excellence for decades.
Yes.
People came from here that impacted the world. So now, there's a Blasio like y'all are on your way out. So why not let me just give you a kick on the way out the door? So don't we need to get our power base back? And with that, I know I'm weaving a lot together. The theme of Harlem Week is
yes.
home of immigrants. And I said earlier in the bit, I have nothing against immigrants.
But that is
But-
somewhat true.
Okay, true, but
I think this is the theme for this year.
okay, enlighten me, please.
It's
oh
saying,
yeah, for this year.
is this the theme?
Right.
So we know many immigrants did come to Harlem. I mean,
Yes.
our greatest one, you know, the Honorable Marcus Garvey.
Yes.
You know, so Colin Powell
Right.
is also of Jamaican roots.
Which I get, but if you touch on when Garvey came here, he shed immigrant status, he even shed Jamaican status. He was a proponent of Pan-Africanism.
Right.
So it wasn't all these different little soup salad stuff, it was we're all one. So that's why I said, shouldn't we be pushing a Pan-African agenda? So if it's a Hispanic from Central America, from Brazil, from DR, they can still come from those places, but the immigrant game keeps us divided.
Yes.
Why can't they come under the banner of Pan-Africanism?
Well-
and can't Harlem be celebrating Pan-Africanism, which would say all of these people came from Africa and landed in all those places and then came here. Wouldn't that give a more accurate history?
Well, this is what I say. I say, when people ask me, what are the demographics of Harlem? I say, well, Harlem is still 85% or higher of African descent.
Of African descent.
And you know what? They don't know how to respond, because if they
Right.
try to, you know, break us all down,
But it
I'm
can
going to
be
say,
ambiguous, but to our harm as well. Because, and don't get me wrong, we got a beautiful emerging African community right coming up on 116th
and
Street.
thank goodness, because you know what? That's sort of like saving us a little bit.
Okay, say, which I get, and they're restaurants, they're stores,
Yeah.
beautiful addition to our wonderful mosaic.
And they are a part of us.
Right, but in many instances, under the Carter administration, again, this was tactical. We had a unified black base that was all under the same banner. These brothers are recently from the continent, and this is almost like family laundry. But in some
Yes.
instances, the bond ain't as tight as it should be.
And you know what? That's what
they,
that's too.
They are using it as a bulwark against the kind of edge us, again, the black that made Harlem an international place, to push us back into a corner.
I mean-
so they're just playing us against each other.
Yeah, but that's the slave mentality that
Yes.
that we have inherited.
Yes.
So when you are in a dispute with your African brother and you say that damn African, you know,
Right.
and we do that.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
And if they hear that enough times,
Right.
they're going to say, damn ignorant black Americans
Right.
lost their knowledge. Well, you know, our knowledge was robbed from us of who we are.
Right.
So we were robbed from our homeland, robbed of our culture, robbed of our religion, robbed of our language.
Sound like you're making a Cliff Muhammad speech over here.
And even robbed of our names.
Exactly.
See?
You speaking truth.
So, because, maybe we should start taking our names back. We may not really know what our names were, but give that man his name back.
Yes.
Say that would be one way to start empowering you. But we have to start thinking better. We can't say, oh, they got this thing, this is gonna happen, there's nothing you can do about it. God is the best plan.
Ashe.
See? And we see, man, do you know what? The 125th Street rezoning, which took place back in 2008, they said by 2017, 80% of that rezoning would be realized. Now walk down 125th Street. Do you see 60% of that vision realized?
Nope.
Do you see 30%?
If it makes 10.
That's
being generous.
It's being 0.
Yeah.
So I could tell you why that vision got strangled. Most people can't tell you why. But what they don't know, whatever comes on them, they think it's the end of the world. So they don't know that they got spared, from something.
Which I get. I'm going to return back to my original analogy. Aren't we looked at as weak right now?
We are.
Before we get too far gone, can't we consolidate? And will you work closely with a brother who is on the council? I hope. No, he's not. His wife is in. But when Barron was in, I don't know if you're a Barron fan or not. And again,
Barron and I went to Hunter College together.
Okay, cool. Well, then I'm glad because Barron and his wife, those two, there's been a 1-2 punch. There's been a real voice for some of the black underclass. So, are you going to be cut from that? Are you going to be rolling for the brother, sister who's having a rough way to go out here? And a lot of us are, man. So we need representation that's going to be putting together either legislation or being a voice of
legislation,
the underclass.
You have to be able to, if I'm going to be working with 50 other city council members, I got to get them to get on my side.
True.
So if I want to get laws passed, I have to be able to talk to them in a way and get them to agree with me.
Yes, diplomacy.
And if you look at a lot of things that I accomplished without being an elected official, how was I able to accomplish these things? These are things that are usually accomplished by legislators, people in office, or somebody with a lot of money. And these are incredible feats. But being able to bring alliances together, being able to negotiate, I think that I have those skills to get people to say, you know what, I'm going to go with him. Because I've already proven that I can do this.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to always be in the community, having town halls, being accessible, and empowering my people.
Exactly. And I'm going to give a part of a little history here from the great family of Malik El-Shabazz, how this brother, with his legal background and expertise, was able to, in my opinion and opinion of others, secure a very critical part of that legacy and that history. And I know he might be too modest to bring it up, but I brought it up. But if you could briefly give us the details related to how you were able to maneuver and secure what you were able to. First, this is from the beginning.
Well, eBay had gotten hold of a cache of Malcolm X papers. And they claimed they legally got these papers. And they were getting ready to auction these papers online, an internet bid auction. So I knew Ilyasa Shabazz, one of Malcolm's daughters, and because I knew her and the route they were taking to try to get these papers back seemed asinine. And it just seemed like these papers were going to be lost. So, because I knew her, I was able to use her as a conduit to get to Percy's, well, I knew Percy too, but to get her family.
Percy Sutton,
Well, Percy Sutton was Malcolm X's lawyer.
Yes. Give them the
But-
history.
But Percy, when he saw the plan, Percy endorsed it. So once Percy endorsed it, then the family went with the whole plan. And the plan proved to be successful. So they did get the papers back. The papers are now archived at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture.
Yes.
So the Schomburg has stated that these papers are one of the most valuable archives in Malcolm X documents, if not the most valuable. And furthermore, the Schomburg has also said that these papers are one of the most valuable out of all the archives at the Schomburg. So this is on a high level, these papers.
Yes.
So I'm glad I was able to, I was confident that I had the right answer, and I drafted the legal, strategy, the whole thing.
Right. And had the diplomacy to bring
Yes.
all the right people together.
Yeah.
They had the trust and respect from Mr. Percy Sutton.
Right, that
for
helped.
him to sign off and sanction.
Yes.
So he looked at him as a young man and said, this brother is on the right track.
Well, he knew my father, and he had a lot of respect for my father.
Right.
But then he's not a dummy either. So
Yes.
Percy, when he read it,
Right.
he said, "This makes sense.
Right.
We
So-
got to go with this."
Right, so he's bringing all of that,
Yes.
all of that credibility, all that swagger.
And I
to
did
a
tell
councilman.
Ilyasa, you could take it to your legal team, whatever. Make sure Percy sees this.
Yes. So again, that's the legacy.
Yes.
Knowledge of God. Do you have any
Yes.
questions?
One question I had was a lot of people might not have as much confidence in politicians or the political spectrum of everything that's going on because they feel like we can't really get anybody to speak for us or represent us the best way or really the way that we really need them to represent us. A lot of people might lose confidence in politicians. What do you say to people, or young people especially, about getting out and voting and things like that and not allowing people to just control the whole spectrum of how we get things done? Because we see things in our neighborhood go up every day and we have no control of what's happening or what's going on. But if you could speak on the importance of voting or, electing people that we could get on our side.
Again, you can't always think that you got to get somebody else elected.
Okay.
So these young people have to empower themselves, and when they empower themselves, they'll be able to seize power. See? So that's really the trick. They have to be empowered, and then when that moment of seizing the power comes, they'll be able to seize it. If they don't empower themselves, then when the moment to seize the power comes, they're going to put it on somebody else.
Right, but doesn't that start at the grassroots? Doesn't they have to organize? I mean, seize power. You got to be organized and prepared. So when power does come, you can seize it and then know what to do with it once you have it.
Well, one of the things when people tell me you can't do X, Y, and Z, and like I showed you how I was able to do a lot of these things, no was not or is not in my vocabulary. So when you tell me I can't do this, then I don't believe in who I am. If I believe who I am, then there's nothing you can tell me to make me back off. I take a scripture in the Bible when God told Moses to go to Pharaoh, and I'm going to tell you what to tell Pharaoh. And Moses said, Pharaoh will destroy me. And God said, no, I make you a God before him. And Aaron is your prophet. So Moses came to Pharaoh as God. When I go anywhere, a lot of times I come as a God. Now, Masons, they all know this. So what I'm saying is not spooky. I come with that type of power, and no is not in my vocabulary. So when I have faith, and when the Bible says that you'll be able to speak to a mountain and say, mountain, move, that mountain will move.
Yes.
So I believe that. And then you see the results.
I see.
Say, if I didn't believe it, nothing would be moving. But I could say, move out my way, and it moves.
Right, through will.
So in a sense, are you saying that we don't need to wait to vote someone in? We can create a movement on our own where we can get things done within what we need to do?
We can, but we have to empower ourselves.
Okay.
We have to be empowered. We got to think better of ourselves.
Right.
That's we don't think better of ourselves. We think like we ain't shit. Ain't nothing gonna really happen. What can we really do?
Yeah.
Like
That's the sentiment I hear.
they they're gonna do what they want to do.
Anyway,
but you know what? By being in the fight, I'm proving no, they can't do whatever they want to do.
Okay.
You could fight them and make them back down.
That's crazy.
You know, in order to eat food, you gotta work. You're not gonna get mail dropped from the sky. You gotta work to eat. So if you want freedom, justice, and equality, you gotta work for it.
Exactly.
It's never where I'm gonna put my feet up on a desk, my hands behind my head, and lean back and say, you know what? We won that because your enemy is plotting against you over and over
Consistently.
and over. So it's the cradle to the grave. Now, what keeps me empowered is God's Spirit. See, I come with the power of God. The Bible says that God never sleeps. He's ongoing. See? So when you're empowered with the Spirit of God, if I told you my age, you would say, I don't believe this. You would say, but I could go on like this because I'm empowered with God's Spirit. See? And that's why I can't get tired. I mean, I am human,
Of course.
so there are going to be times that I do, but those times, they're very little.
That spirit, that energy is like forever.
Yeah, see? So if I'm willing and if I believe I'm a God, then I'm not going to be getting tired. I'm like the energizing bunny rabbit. Keeps going, keeps going.
I definitely like what you're saying, and definitely got a lot of confidence that you are bringing positive change.
I mean, we always brag about what we could do. We're in Starbucks and we're talking a lot of stuff, what we could do, but if you could really do it, then do it. And one day I was feeling a little down and tired. I felt overwhelmed this one day. And then I just said out loud, why me? Why does it gotta be me? Now, my brother, he was all bent over, drugged out, and he said, Julius, you know why it's gotta be you? And I said, why? And he said, because you can do it!
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's the realest.
And then that hit me like a lightning bolt. To those who are given much is required.
Exactly.
So if you have intelligence and it's a lot, then you better use your intelligence.
Yes.
You better not be holding back. If you're strong, like Samson, you better use your strength and don't hold back. So
To hold back is to dishonor who sent you.
whatever you have a lot of, don't hold it back because much is going to be required of you. So I hope that when I see my Creator says to me, my son, well done. You had these gifts, I gave you these things, and you didn't hold back. So in addition to being political, there's a spiritual side to me too. And that's always been the case with our great Harlem leaders. They were great men politically, but they were spiritual men too.
Exactly.
And you could not tell them no. And that's why they were able to achieve much.
Very true. Legacy. That's legacy.
That's legacy.
That was dope, and I'm a person who walks that same type of path because I actually had the same conversation with my wife the other day, and I was actually saying it to myself like, damn, why I gotta be the one to go out do all this? Why me? And then I thought about it and said, you know what? I'm the only one who could do it right now,
Exactly.
so there's no time for complaining.
Exactly.
Let me just get it done, and now we're here today.
The Million Man March back in 1995 awakened me, and I had to take responsibility and be honest with myself and say, you know what? There's a certain amount of complacency that you have as well. And once I realized that, I was no longer complacent. but I had to own up to it.
Right.
Responsibility.
Exactly.
Owning it.
Brother, I appreciate your time.
Yes.
And man, this was definitely an experience. Where
Yeah.
can the people go to follow what you're doing, and also where could they go to vote as well?
Well, I'm in the 9th Council District, so parts of, well, all of Central Harlem, a lot of parts of West Harlem, and a lot of East Harlem. So look up the 9th Council District. Currently, that seat's being held by Bill Perkins. He snuck back in.
Don't be taking no jabs at Bill up in here. He stuck back in.
Yeah.
You might have to explain that. I ain't gonna put you on
We
the
sent
spot.
him to Albany. He had
Gave him a farewell party and everything.
He had 2 more years. We sent him to Albany. We were getting things done in Harlem. You know, one of the other things, they're bringing bike share stations
Really?
to Central Harlem.
I didn't know that.
Now, when you got some people that think nothing's wrong with it, it's hard to shut it down completely. But when I said that it's non-negotiable, that it's not going on 125th Street to interfere with our vendors, and we're not going to have it taking up any parking spaces.
Exactly. That's
Now,
right.
I put a plan together, and I succeeded. The bike share stations are not coming on 125th,
That's dope.
and not one parking space will you see a bike share station. Now, you go all over New York City, and you see them bike share stations in streets, taking up parking spaces that used to be there. In Central Harlem, you're not going to see that.
Yeah, that's power, brother.
It
man.
is,
I
it is.
definitely appreciate
Say
that.
because, you know, it wasn't about compromising. Some shit got to be non-negotiable.
Exactly.
Why are we afraid to use that word?
And we need a
You gotta be
leadership that's
politically
not
correct.
afraid.
That's why.
You know,
Yeah.
they're talking about 15, and you're compromising 6. No, none. Because we don't have enough parking spaces to accommodate the people who do own cars
Exactly.
in our district.
Very true.
So
Yeah.
because they said very few people drive cars. Okay, that might be true. You know, in our community, that came up. That very few people, it's not that many car owners. Okay.
I mean,
And-
is this proven through documentation? Someone has kept a record?
Yeah, it is. But you know
Okay.
what? See, but now my answer to that, we don't even have enough parking spaces to accommodate that low number.
True. Good answer, man. Excellent response.
So
Yeah.
it shut them down. They came back. So that's something else I was able to achieve.
Yeah.
Do you have like any social media for like say,
Yes.
young guys or people who's really into that, like this message that you're saying, and they want to continue to listen to more?
Julius Tajiddin. It's Tajiddin. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I have a millennial working on my social media.
Dope.
So it will be very soon. Julius Tajiddin for City Council, 2017.
Yo,
So
I'm not from Harlem, but you got my vote, man.
Yeah. And also, since his brother, he's one of them limited brothers, we're going to get a Key of Life Production shout out because it might be from the governor in about 10 years.
Oh, yeah, let's
Because
get
this is how
that.
unstoppable this brother is. So if you could get a Key of Life Production shout out for us.
Key of Life Productions, they're on it. They always try to extract intelligence from the community. So they don't want to, pull punches or be politically correct. Matter of fact, there's going to be a panel discussion at Raw Space very soon dealing with the Harlem Classical Theater production of Three Musketeers. And I'm going to tell you why. There's a character, Arcadian, who became the fourth musketeer. So the storyline, Arcadian is the man, and Arcadian has a love interest. Well, 3 days into the show, they made Arcadian where she was a woman, in fact, like a Joan of Arc, and her love interest was still a woman. So a lot of families that came there with the children, they got up and they walked out. So
they've been playing moves like that for a
Yeah.
minute, man. They've been doing that.
So this happened, it wasn't just, I know firsthand of one situation where a handful of family members, families left, but then I heard from another friend, he was there the following Friday or whatever, and he said that a lot of families got up, families that had their children,
Yeah.
they got up and they left. So we think this discussion, we need to have this discussion.
Yes.
We can't,
That's real.
we just can't act like stuff doesn't exist.
No, you can't.
And
Or
if
just
we're going
accept
to be,
everything as well.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
accept any
yeah.
and every single thing that's happening and
It
force
needs
and
to be
push
talked
upon it.
about.
Yes,
Or just
yes.
accept every lifestyle.
Right.
And I'm gonna say this, and some people think, the extent of it is just getting on and wolfing about, them fags, them freaks, them.
Yeah.
Yo, they are organized, man. Y'all say what you want about them. They got people of power in place. They've always had fashion. They've always had certain industries locked down. Now politics they set their sights on. Something else I noticed, I don't know if you noticed too, I don't know if it started last year, but it really screamed at me this year. The march this year was called the Pride March. It wasn't called the Gay Pride March. It was pushed and promoted
Yeah.
as the Pride March.
Yeah, it did.
Now don't think that's marketing, man.
my thing is, to just have the audacity to think that with children and their parents there,
They don't care,
That-
man. They don't care. We are weak
Without
people.
warning-
Well, they perceive us as a weak people.
Yeah.
We're going to do what we... Cause look at the level of disrespect that is.
I don't think that
3
was
days,
smart.
3 days, but it was tactical.
Yeah.
Just like in martial arts, he might fake you over here for
Yes.
what, just to see you go for that.
Yes.
Then they come over with something
Right.
stronger. And again, people want to call them names. I respect power. No matter who has it, they're organized and they're moving to push their agenda. So the LGBT stuff, they are becoming a force in many areas.
Yes.
And for those who don't agree with that lifestyle and want to have certain things
Yeah.
that will be more traditional and customary, at very least for your children. Adults doing what they want to do, that's between adults. But exposing things related to books in the school system, related to the arts, is that too harsh of a line to take? Or what is the next step for folks who did feel a little offended by that being thrown on the community that way?
Well, have you heard of the school leadership team?
The school?
The school leadership teams?
No, I haven't.
Every school throughout New York City has a school leadership team. And it consists of the principal, teachers, parents, other DOE employees, community-based organization members. And these teams come up with the comprehensive educational plans for their schools. So it covers a tremendous load of academics, but also policy on how certain things will be brought to children. So I had something to do with creating these teams, or this concept of SLT, school leadership teams, back in the 90s.
Oh, really? Interesting. So you were the creator of that concept?
Well, someone else, I helped him work on it. So he had this vision, and a lot of my ideas are in this.
Impressive. Again, a sign of leadership, organization, and putting something forward. Knowledge of God. I know we just keep breathing more life in this interview.
So getting back to that, when I was the chair of my school leadership team at my daughter's school, I had a very strong parental involvement policy that was not dictated by the principal or the DOE. And when I say strong, I mean very strong. So I need to say no more.
Well, very strong usually has penalties associated with it.
No penalties.
I mean, but how do you, some people don't want to comply. How do you get compliance?
Oh, they comply.
Okay, and for those who don't?
No, the school, that was part of the comprehensive educational plan. And the chancellor did not disapprove it. So you gotta know your power.
So we win some and we obviously lose some.
But you gotta know you gotta be empowered.
And I think what you just said is the most important thing, because even when I hear Dr. Umar Johnson speak, like, your kids don't have to get shots. You don't have to force certain things within them. Just because the school says, yo, you gotta do it. You have a certain power where you don't have to agree to everything that's being done to you.
You don't have to acquiesce.
You can stand up. So I respect that.
You know, cell phones could be used back in the schools again. You know that, right?
Yes, I was aware of that.
Right.
I got
So,
news of that.
When Mayor Bloomberg took away that right, a group of us, well, put it this way, I'm one of the key people, if not the main person, if not the only person, that made it where the cell phones were going to come back into the schools. On paper, in the newspapers, it portrayed it as a loss. Like the lawsuit filed against the DOE was lost. But if you read the decision, it was really a win. Just trying to save face in the media. That's all.
That's crazy.
So as long as my daughter could still carry her cell phone in the school and other black parents, that's what mattered.
Exactly. Ashe.
Well, once again, man, you definitely putting it down, and I definitely want to be a part of whatever you got moving towards the future. Maybe, you know, have Kid Life Production, independent media.
Well, you got my card.
I truly appreciate that.
Okay.
Julius, how do you pronounce the last name?
Tajiddin.
We truly appreciate you once again, man.